Welcome to Army Controller Training Module. Inspired by Shri Sanjeev Mittal, IDAS, Controller General of Defence Accounts. Lyrics by Shri Sanjeev Kumar, IDAS, Additional Secretary and Financial Advisor, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India. Presented by Principal Controller of Defence Accounts, Southwestern Command Army, Jaipur. Conception and patronage by Shri Saroj Kumar, IDAS, Principal Controller of Defence Accounts, Southwestern Command Army, Jaipur. Chief Mentor and Reviewer Shri Himanshu Shankar, IDAS, Integrated Financial Advisor, Southwestern Command Army, Jaipur. Directed by Dr. Bhuvnesh Kumar Verma, IDAS, Joint Controller of Defence Accounts. Assistant Directors Shri Abhishek Sharma, IDAS, Shri Sushil Riyad, IDAS, Shri Mohan Lal Meena, IDAS and Shri D.K. Oza, IDAS. Defence Accounts Department comes under the Ministry of Defence with the Controller General of Defence Accounts as its head. It is one of the oldest central government departments functioning for more than 270 years. The duties of Defence Accounts Department are broadly audit, payment, accounting and financial advice to armed forces, ordnance factories, border roads, DRDO, Coast Guard, etc. The department is also responsible for making payment of pension to retired armed forces personnel, including defence civilians. The quality policy is: the Defence Accounts Department is committed to render efficient, correct and prompt accounting, payment and financial services leading to customer satisfaction. It is also committed to render efficient audit services to ensure public accountability. The mission statement of our department is: we strive to achieve excellence and professionalism in accounting and financial services and in performing audit functions.
Minimum government, maximum governance is the present government's commitment, and being part of the administration, we are mandated to fulfill this commitment. As Defence Accounts Department, we are expected to provide effective financial advice, internal audit and efficient accounting services to Ministry of Defence and its organizations, including the 3 services. To achieve this, we require a clear sense of responsibility at all levels, integration of the existing work procedures with a dynamically changing work environment by constantly adapting to new challenges quickly in a professional manner. For this, we have to strengthen our workforce with the required knowledge and expertise through suitably devised training programs. In this direction, I congratulate Shri Saroj Kumar, Principal Controller of Defence Accounts, Southwestern Command, for conceptualizing and creating the training module for the Army Controllers for meeting the departmental training requirements. Such effort is all the more commendable since it has been undertaken during the period of COVID-19 pandemic related national lockdown and its related restrictions on office functioning and travel. I have assessed these modules and it is my opinion that the contents of each video tutorial are adequate for providing in-depth knowledge about the subject as also its practical aspects through examples and case studies. I hope this Army Controller Training module will become a milestone in imparting departmental training online and shall further motivate other controllers to develop similar video tutorials on other topics as envisaged in the DAD Training and Development Policies 2019. Moreover, development of e-learning modules is the need of the hour for training of our officers and staff. Once again, I feel great pleasure in conveying my best wishes to all the officers and staff involved for contributing to the development of these training modules in a comprehensive and effective manner, especially in view of the fact that the entire exercise was carried out by officers and staff members of Principal CDA South Western Command. I hope to see more of such innovative developments in future for enhancing the training functions of our department. I would like to end with these few lines from Shri Amit Arjun Bhardwaj, a motivational expert. कुछ करना है तो डटकर चल, थोड़ा दुनिया से हटकर चल, लीक पर तो सभी चल लेते हैं, कभी इतिहास को पलट कर चल, मिलेगा तेरी मेहनत का फल, किसी और का ना इंतज़ार कर, कुछ करना है तो डटकर चल, थोड़ा दुनिया से हटकर चल। थैंक यू। जय हिंद।
मित्रों, आज देश ही नहीं वरन संपूर्ण विश्व एक भयंकर त्रासदी से गुजर रहा है। ऐसी स्थिति में सभी प्रकार के कार्य बुरी तरह से प्रभावित हुए हैं, फिर चाहे वो सरकारी कार्य हो अथवा गैर सरकारी कार्य। हमारे विभाग का एक महत्वपूर्ण कार्य अपने अधिकारियों व कर्मचारियों के लिए प्रशिक्षण की उचित व्यवस्था करना है, जिससे हम अपने निर्धारित कार्य को सुव्यवस्थित, दक्षता एवं गुणवत्तापूर्ण ढंग से संचालित कर सकें। वर्तमान विश्व त्रासदी को देखते हुए आज सभी जगह सामाजिक दूरी एक अनिवार्यता हो गई है, जिससे कि हम स्वयं को तथा अपने आसपास के लोगों को संक्रमित होने से रोक सकें। इसी को दृष्टिगत रखते हुए यह सोचा गया है कि हम प्रशिक्षण में ई लर्निंग माध्यम को अपनाकर अपने अधिकारियों व कर्मचारियों को ऐसे किसी जोखिम से बचाते हुए दूरस्थ प्रशिक्षण के माध्यम से प्रशिक्षित कर सकें। रक्षा लेखा महानियंत्रक महोदय के मार्गदर्शन में ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल इसी सोच का परिणाम है और इसमें हमने उन महत्वपूर्ण विषयों को समाहित किया है जो सामान्यतया कमांड पीसीडीए सीडीए के लिए अति आवश्यक हैं। हमारे अधिकारियों और कर्मचारियों ने पूरा प्रयास किया है कि गुणवत्ता पूरी तरह से बनी रहे तथा वर्तमान नियमों अधिनियमों को भी सम्मिलित करने का प्रयास किया गया है। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि यह मॉड्यूल हमारे लोगों को समुचित प्रशिक्षण प्रदान करने में सार्थक होगा, जिससे वे अपने कार्यों को कुशलता व दक्षता पूर्वक संपादित कर सकेंगे। धन्यवाद।
सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो, सर्वप्रिय हो, कार्य करें सर्वोत्तम, यही हमारा मूल मंत्र हो, यही हमारा लक्ष्य परम। सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो, सर्वप्रिय हो, कार्य करें सर्वोत्तम, वायु अग्नि धरा और अंबर, वायु अग्नि धरा और अंबर यही संदेशा देते हैं। कार्य करें हम श्रेष्ठ निरंतर, ना हमसे कोई भूल हो, ना हमसे कोई भूल हो। सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो, सर्वप्रिय हो, कार्य करें सर्वोत्तम, यही हमारा मूल मंत्र हो, यही हमारा लक्ष्य परम। सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो, सर्वप्रिय हो, कार्य करें सर्वोत्तम, यही हमारा मूल मंत्र हो, यही हमारा लक्ष्य परम।
Hello everyone, I'm Abhishek Sharma, Deputy Controller Defense Accounts. I welcome you all. Continuing the ongoing online audio-video lecture series, now let's jump to the account section training module. To run an organization, department, office or a business, whether large or small, accounting is the basic necessity. Therefore, the account section is the backbone of every department, without which the existence of any organization or a department is questionable. This module has been divided into two parts for easy comprehension. In the first part, Mr. Ashish Khandelwal will be discussing the role of account section in our department, forms of accounts, command budget model, and the statement of central transactions. In mid of this session, Ms. Ayushi Jain will throw some light on the classification of transactions, codification scheme, transfer entries, and compilation of accounts. Further, Mr. Ashok Rajora will talk about reconciliation of RBI account, checking of punching media, and clearance of suspense heads in details. We have tried to include as many examples as deemed necessary to simplify your learning. Hope this will provide you an insight about the account section and help in getting expertise in the accounting. Now, let's get started.
Hello everyone, I am Ashish Khandelwal. Now we will start by discussing accounting. It is accounting by which it is possible to keep a proper record of financial transaction of government office to prepare the records of government fund, investment, revenue and expenses. It includes summarizing, analyzing and reporting these transactions in the form of ledger. In a nutshell, recording of receipt and expenditure in a systematic way is called accounting. Let's have a detailed discussion about the account section of DAD. But before moving ahead, let us first highlight the main functions of our department. Defense Accounts Department is responsible for audit, payment, and accounting of all receipts and charges pertaining to defense services and defense organizations. As we all know, there are some rules and procedures to follow to do any type of work. Here also, to function the account section, we have an encyclopedia of account section called Defense Accounts Code, which contains detailed instructions and procedures relating to accounting, compilation, consolidation of annual accounts, review of balances, and reconciliation of all the transactions as well as interdepartmental or intergovernmental adjustments, etc. These review of balances, reconciliation, etc. we will discuss in later slides. Now, to understand the working of account section better, let's discuss the objective of accounts in general. First objective is to provide accounting and financial information to executive authorities for the performance of their managerial functions, like how much revenue generated and how much expenditure was made for it for a particular month. For example, in our department, we provide monthly expenditure report to executive authority on monthly or fortnightly basis as agreed upon among these stakeholders. Secondly, we also need to provide timely and accurate figures to government for preparation of financial accounts of the defense services. In our department, annual review of balances is prepared CDA wise and being forwarded to CGDA headquarters. Then CGDA headquarters submit the final figures to Controller General of Accounts. Now coming over to the form of accounts. The accounts of central government shall be kept in the following three parts. The first part is Consolidated Fund of India, second is Contingency Fund of India, and the last part is Public Account of India. Let's have a deeper look on these form of accounts. The Consolidated Fund of India is a fund of central government into which the revenues received by the central government, including union territories, loans raised by that government by the issue of treasury bills, loans or ways and means advances, and money received by the government in repayment of loans are credited. And when so authorized by the parliament, the expenditure to be made from that government is met from this fund. Basically, two types of expenditure are made from Consolidated Fund of India. One is charge expenditure and the other one is voted expenditure. We'll discuss charge expenditure. In accordance with Article 112(3)(f) of the Constitution of India, payments made in satisfaction of a judgment decree or award of any court or arbitral tribunal will be treated as expenditure charged on the consolidated fund of India, and it will not be subject to vote by the legislature. Next is voted expenditure. All other expenditure met out of consolidated fund of India will be treated as voted expenditure. Now let's understand the parts of consolidated fund of India more easily. As per Defense Accounts Code, consolidated fund of India consists of two main divisions, namely revenue account and capital account. Basically, capital account are for fixed assets which are expected to be productive for a long period of time, or the transactions happen once in a while are recorded in capital account. And revenue account are for costs that are related to specific revenue transactions or operating periods, such as repairs and maintenance, and consist day-to-day basis transactions. Now, the revenue account consists different sections for receipt heads and expenditure heads. Similarly, the capital account consists different sections, receipt heads, expenditure head, and public debt, loan and advances, etc. Then this receipt head deal with the proceeds of taxation and other receipts such as revenue, and the section expenditure heads deal with expenditure met therefrom. The section receipt heads of capital account deals with receipts of a capital nature which cannot be applied as a set off to capital expenditure. The section expenditure heads of a capital account deal with expenditure met usually from borrowed funds. It also includes receipts of a capital nature intended to be applied as set off to capital expenditure. The section public debt and loan and advances comprises loans raised and their repayment, government such as internal debt and external debt of the central government, and loans and advances made by governments. The section also includes certain special type of head for transactions relating to transfer from consolidated fund of the contingency fund and interstate settlement. To have a general idea about how the fund flows, next we will learn about entire expenditure cycle right from the consolidated fund of India till unit level. We will all see the role of CDA in this. Fund is received in consolidated fund of India through receipts like tax and loans, etc. After discussion and voting in Parliament, budget is being passed and it becomes Appropriation Act. Now, to fulfill the demands related to different ministries or departments which were created from last year's original figures to meet the day-to-day expenditure of Government of India, Parliament authorizes powers to ultimate executive authority. In case of our department, Ministry of Defense is the ultimate executive authority, which on behalf of President delegates powers to make the expenditure to further level. In case of Army, Director General Financial Planning or DGFP got this power and act as budget allotment authority. Now it has allotment related to their demand. Now DGFP give allotment to the command which act as a budget allotter as well as holder. At the same time, one ink signed copy of the budget allotment letter is being forwarded to CDA also, which upload it in the tulip system against the respective command or unit in a particular code head. Now command issues the budget to the next budget holder, which may be respective corps, division headquarters or formations. Further, it is sub-allotted to the units. Units make the expenditure of it and forward the claims to concerned CDA. Now the audit section of CDA office checks whether the budget is allotted or not against the demand. If it is allotted and requirement of audit has been fulfilled, then the expenditure will be booked in the new compilation system and it is forwarded to the CGDA headquarters office. After consolidation of these figures received from various CDA offices, CGDA sends it to the Controller General of Accounts in the form of Statement of Central Transactions. From here, it goes to the Government of India, where the final expenditure figures are prepared in the Department of Expenditure under the Ministry of Finance. Meanwhile, a copy of SCT is being forwarded to Comptroller and Auditor General of India through Director General of Audit Defence Services. Finally, C&AG submits its report to the Parliament after doing external audit of these figures. I think this flowchart has made your understanding better. That was all about the expenditure cycle in the case of Defence Ministry. Next is command budget model. This command budget model is proposed to be implemented for headquarter SWC command with effect from financial year 2020-21. By adopting this model, budget can directly be allotted to headquarters command by FP Directorate. The responsibility of estimation, projections, control, monitoring, and proposing reappropriation would rest within the headquarters command. The point to note is that this model will be applicable for revenue budget only. Now, surrender of funds. The surrenders indicated by the command would be treated as a savings and reappropriated within the command to other heads which require additional funds. Reappropriation of funds for detailed heads. Presently, all reappropriation sanctions are made by the principal staff officer at the various levels in consultation with IFA. The case for devolution for reappropriation power to the Army Commander has been processed to Ministry of Defence Finance. Total of 40 sub or detailed code heads under minor head 105, 110 stores, 111 works and miscellaneous have been identified for devolution to the field army, over which the headquarters command will have absolute lien. Now let's move on to the next part of form of accounts, which is contingency fund of India. When a need arises to incur unforeseen expenditure in excess of the sanctioned grant or appropriation or on a new service not provided in the budget, and there is no sufficient time for the voting of supplementary demand and the passing of the connected appropriation bill, an advance from the contingency fund set up under Article 267I of the Constitution, White Para 16, shall be obtained before incurring the expenditure. And now the last part, public account of India. The transactions relating to debt, that is small savings provident funds, reserve fund deposits and advances, suspense and miscellaneous and remittances shall be recorded in the public account of India. As we are talking about the accounting, we will now discuss about the duties of CGDA as a Chief Accounting Officer. Our head of the department, that is CGDA, functions on behalf of Secretary Defence Finance and Financial Advisor Defence Services as the chief authority in all matters affecting financial advice, internal audit, and the accounting in respect of expenditure pertaining to the defence services. Similarly, general duties of CDA or PCDA as an accounting officer includes auditing and accounting function in respect of formations or units under the administrative jurisdiction of respective command. Till now, we have seen various aspects which are crucial in the functioning of account section. Now let's discuss about the duties of account section itself. Some of the duties of account section are preparation of compilation schedules from punching media and supporting vouchers in respect of remittance head. Next, to maintain debt head register in which the advance and recoveries of various loans are entered. This section does the settlement of transaction under defense performa accounting procedure. It reconciles balance of RBI with the balances of books of the concerned CDA or PCDA. Watching clearance of the various outstanding suspense heads. We'll discuss this in later slides. Next duty is accounting and adjustment of transactions relating to DAD receipts and expenditure. This section also watch the progress of expenditure against allotments in respect of locally controlled head through MER. Next is review of compilation. It also prepares review of balances in respect of Defense and Defense Accounts Department. So let's try to understand general outlines of the system pertaining to defense services accounts. All receipts released by defense services are paid into a PSU bank like SBI and are accounted for at the bank merely as receipt on behalf of defense services. And similarly, all payment on behalf of defense services are made at the bank by means of check or through e-payment and are accounted for at the bank merely as payment on behalf of defense services. Now moving further to different modes used for settlement of defense transactions. First is civil inter-department CIDs. Transaction between defense services and other departments like railways or posts are settled through civil inter-department. Next is DID or defense inter-department. Transaction between one CDA or PCDA to another CDA or PCDA are settled through defense inter-departments DIDs. Next one is checks. Transaction between defense services and other ministries for which the audit accounts have been separated are settled on cash basis by issue of checks. Next, transaction between defense services and non-government bodies are settled by actual payment by actual recovery. And the last one is appropriation account. The receipt and expenditure related to PRO are settled through appropriation account. Now, in this context, our next topic is Statement of Central Transaction SCT of Defense Services. The CGDA prepare SCT of Defense Services and Ministry of Defense Civil receipts and charges on annual basis. These SCT are rendered to Controller General of Accounts and Director General of Audit Defense Services. The SCT is prepared from the material available in the All India Consolidated Compilation of Service Heads, Revenue Debt and Remittance Head for March Supplementary. After closing of annual accounts, any amendment to SCT is effected through general entries with the approval of CGA. This was all about SCT, which is in relevance to the working of account section. Our next slide is Defense Performa account. Due to inadequacy and failure of the system of settlement accounts with other departments, for example railways, posts, etc., a procedure called Defense Performa account for the adjustment of defense transaction with other department was introduced in 1962. Basically, Defense Performa account is the central account in the books of RBI exclusively for defense services. It includes the balance of defense services which form a part of central government balances for regulating ways and means arrangements. Under the system of defense performa accounting, the balances of the defense services were created performa in the books of Reserve Bank of India. The defense services balances, that is one line figure, as well as its detailed components, that is controller wise figures leading to that one line figure, is available in the books of RBI. Now we have learned the basic overview of accounting. Now Ms. Ayushi Jain will be discussing further about transactions, various heads, their codification, transfer and entries, etc. Thank you.
Hello, I am Ayushi Jain. So we already discussed that accounting involves recording of the financial transactions, and in our department we deal with a huge number of financial transactions. So in order to make these huge number of transactions easy to track, manage and reconcile, we have a 5-tier classification. It includes major head, which has 4 digits. For example, major head 4076 is for capital outlay defense services. Second comes the sub major head, which has 2 digits. For example, 01 is for army and 02 is for navy. Third is the minor head. It includes 3 digits like 101 and represents the pay and allowances, and 105 is for transportation. Fourth one is the subhead, which contains 2 digits, and the last one is the detailed head, which contains 2 digits again, like 01 is for local purchase and 02 for central purchase. Now, detail heads of object heads of pamphlet of RDR are represented by 7 digits in the CHB and pamphlet of RDR. Now, this codification is converted into 15 digits in the CGS account through a concordance. Now, let us focus upon the major head. A 4-digit code has been allotted to the major head. The first digit indicates whether the major head is a receipt head or a revenue expenditure head or a capital expenditure head or loan head. But how will it indicate? Let us see. Now, if the first digit is 0 or 1, it will represent revenue receipt. 2 or 3 will represent the revenue expenditure. 4 or 5 indicates capital expenditure. 6 or 7 are for loan head, and at last 8 will represent contingency fund and public account. Here the point to be noted is that the major head and the sub-major head are dealt at the ministry level. They deal with it, we don't. For example, 2076 is for Army, 2077 is for Navy, and 2078 is for Air Force. These are the expenditure heads in revenue account. But with these major heads, there are no sub-major heads that comes along. So, similarly, moving towards another major head, which is 4076, and it is the major head of capital outlay for entire defense services. Let us have an example where the sub-major head comes under the major head. The example is code head 4076/01, which is used for Army, where 01 is a sub-major head. Similarly, 02 is for the Navy. So basically, we deal with the minor head, sub-head, and detailed head at the command and cluster level. Along with these heads, we also use prefix and suffix. Let us first come over to the prefix. These are used to identify the nature of the transaction and also for command-wise control of the expenditure. Now here are some examples. The prefix 00 pertains to RDR, 01 to CHB, 99 pertains to the expenditure which is charged upon Consolidated Fund of India. These were the examples which shows us the nature of transaction. Now to identify the expenditure from organizational point of view, here are some other prefix too. For example, 89 pertains to the expenditure of Southwestern Command, 84 pertains to the Southern Command, and 86 to the Western Command. As earlier said, these are used for command-wise control for the expenditures. Now, coming over to suffix, these are used in order to identify the nature of the expenditure. For instance, to determine whether it is a local purchase or central purchase. For example, 364/01 and 364/02. Here, the 364 is the IT head pertaining to ECHS, and the suffix 01 is for local purchase and the 2 is for central purchase. Another instance is 230/01 and 230/02, where the 230 pertains to the pay and allowances of MES, and the 01 suffix pertains to officers, and the 02 pertains to others. So now we are well aware that these heads are assigned some codes. We will now see how these codes are assigned, what scheme is involved. So the next in line comes the codification scheme. Under this scheme of codification, we can see 4 sections, namely receipt major heads, expenditure major head, capital major head, and the 4th one is the loan major head. The receipt major heads are assigned the block of consecutive serial numbers from 0001 to 1999, and expenditure major heads on revenue account are assigned the codes from 2001 to 3999. Similarly, the capital major head is denoted by 4000. Now, the major head under public debt loans and advances, interstate settlement, and transfer to contingency fund are assigned code numbers from 6001 to 7999. The only head for contingency fund in part 2 contingency fund is given the code number 8000. Let us have a look on how we can get an idea that which major head represents which section. Here the point on which you need to pay attention to is The code numbers relating to a major head in respect of the same function following under the 4 sections mentioned in the previous slide are arranged in such a way that by adding 2000 to the concerned code, the major head applicable for the 4 sections could be determined. Too tough to comprehend? Let us make it easy. Here we are having a table where the miscellaneous general services, we have receipt major head 0075. On adding 2000 to it, we will arrive at 2075, which is ultimately the expenditure major head of revenue account. Similarly, on adding 2000 to this 2075, it will become 4075, and which is the capital major head. Isn't it easy? I hope it is. This is to ensure easy correlation of receipts or expenditure relating to the same function occurring in these 4 sections. So this was all about the major head. Some of the minor heads are shown here, common to some of the services or ministries, such as the minor head 050. This pertains to the lands and buildings for Army, Navy and Air Force, all of them. Second one is the minor head 202, which is for construction, again for Army, Navy and Air Force. Another example is the minor head 799, which represent the suspense account of Army and Ordnance Factory both. Now that we have seen the tier classification of transactions, now we will see the classification of expenditure as capital and revenue. Let's have a look on the capital expenditure first. Now, capital expenditure is the money an organization spends to buy, maintain, or improve its fixed assets. Let us further focus on this. This expenditure is generally met from the receipts of a capital, debt, deposit, or banking characters as distinguished from ordinary revenue derived from taxes, duties, fines, fees, and similar items of current income, including extraordinary receipts too. It is open to the government to meet capital expenditure from ordinary revenues, provided there are sufficient revenue resources to cover this liability. In Department of Defense, expenditure on procurements of items costing rupees 10 lakhs or more and which have a life of 7 years or more, or which are required for modernization program, is debitable to the capital budget. Expenditure on vehicles, irrespective of cost and life, shall be treated as capital. Now, coming over to the revenue expenditure. These expenditures take place after a fixed asset is put into service and simply keeps the asset in the working order. Now, all the items of expenditure to be met from should be initially and finally debited to revenue, and it is not permissible to debit such expenditure temporarily to a capital head pending the right back to revenue over a period of years. Our next classification of transactions is classification under suspense. Items of receipt and payments which cannot at once be taken to a final head, either of receipt or charge, owing to lack of information about its nature or for any other reasons, may be held temporarily under the major head 8659, which is the suspense account of defense in the sector L suspense and miscellaneous of the accounts. Now, a service receipt for which full particulars are not given must not be taken to the head suspense account. Please pay attention, but should be credited to the minor head other receipts under the revenue head to which it appears to belong. This must be eventually transferred to the credit to the proper head on receipt of the detailed particulars. One point to keep note is that the charges under the head suspense account will consider of items for which full particulars, which will enable the audit office properly to classify them, have not been given. Here one point should be noted that no sum shall ordinarily be credited to government by debit to a suspense head. Credit must follow and not precede the actual realization. Here we are done with various type of classifications of expenditure which are of relevance to the account section. Now next in line comes the transfer entries. Transfer entries are basically the entries intended to transfer an item from one head of account to another. These are also utilized to correct an error of classification in the original accounts or to revise classification provisionally made as a matter of convenience in the first instance. Please note that sometimes it is more convenient to classify items pertaining to more than one head of account under a single head of account in the first instance than to classify them under each head of account from the beginning. In such cases, transfer entries are necessary to bring the amounts under the proper heads of accounts. It is also used to adjust by debit or credit to its proper head. Also to adjust interdepartmental and other transactions which do not involve the receipt or payments of cash. In a transfer entry, all particulars explaining both the nature of the adjustment and the grounds of the correction must be clearly stated. Now coming over to the adjustment of TE. To understand from the basic level, let us have a look step by step on how actually the adjustment is done. So when an individual approaches bank with the cash to deposit via MRO, the bank debits his personal account and credit MRO in our favor. The MRO received by us is then adjusted in the respective code head by operating plus charge in the MRO head and plus receipt in the destination code head, in this case which is miscellaneous receipt head. This is how the normal adjustment is done. Now suppose instead of operating plus charge in the correct head, which is 0002080, we operated plus charge in the wrong head, which is 00020/82. Now in order to rectify it, the plus charge created in the wrong head must be nullified. The way of doing so is to operate the negative charge in the wrong head, which is 82.1, and the plus charge in the 80 head. In this way, we can rectify the error. Next comes the power of signing of punching medium. The punching media in respect of transfer adjustment will be signed by the officers as mentioned here. This is for the current system, which is subject to change from time to time when deemed necessary by CGDA headquarters. So now, in case of normal transfer adjustments, AAO can sign up to rupees 25 lakhs. Similarly, AO and senior AO can sign up to 1 crores. And from the PM, exceeding rupees 10 crores must be signed by the CDA and PCDA. Now coming over to the rectification of incorrect adjustments, AO and senior AO has the power to sign up to 25 lakhs, and the rectification exceeding 5 crores, only CDA and PCDA has the power to sign it. This was all about the TE and its adjustment. So our next topic is compilation of accounts. Now what exactly the compilation means? It means a process of putting together something by assembling information collected from other sources or by assembling previously separate items. Let us now see how the compilation of accounts is done in our department. The receipts and expenditure accounts of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Ordnance Factories, and Research and Development and civil departments paid out of the civil grant of the Ministry of Defence are electronically compiled on the computer by the EDP section headquarters office. For this purpose, the necessary data available in the original vouchers are codified in the documents which are known as punching medium. The punching media are then sent by different controllers' offices, sub-offices to the concerned DDP or EDP center. Let us now have a look on class of vouchers. A punching medium serves as a medium for codification of vouchers for compilation of accounts from which data is entered in the computer. Separate punching media are also prepared for each class of voucher indicating here. Class 1 is the cash vouchers. All natures of claims where check is to be issued is booked in this class. Now the class 2 vouchers are the transfer entries. This is used for each transfer entry for rectification of the previous classification. Class 2 vouchers may also be used in respect of fresh adjustment cases like adjustment of TRs or MROs, passing of credit or debit items, defense exchange accounts by audit sections, etc. Coming over to the class 3, which is ID schedules. This class of PM is used for adjusting item originating in the book of Civil Accountant General, which they get adjusted against defense balances. Class 4 is the abstract of receipts and charges. This is used mainly by the AOGEs and WOBSOs, where abstract of receipts and charges are prepared. Now coming over to the class 5 of the vouchers, which are cash accounts. In this class, formation drawing checks against cash assignment like military farms, remount depots, pension paymasters, military treasure chest holder, etc. are assigned fixed unit code numbers and PM prepared in the adjustment of them. Now the class 6 vouchers are railway bills. The railway bills and the PM pertaining to these are booked in this class. Class 8 is the ID schedules for defense. This class of voucher is used in audit section or in the account section of a controller's office while responding to the DID schedule. Now the last one is the class 9 vouchers, which are MES bills. This class of PM is used for adjustment of payments made by the main office of the controller in respect of MES formations for credit to the public fund account. Now let us discuss about various compilations prepared by the EDP Center and their disposal. Coming over to the sectional compilations. A separate compilation for each section of a controller's office is generated online to exhibit the amount compiled under each code head during the month. Book compilation of RDR heads. A separate book compilation of RDR heads is printed for each CDA or PCDA office showing the current and progressive figures under each RDR head. Coming over to the third one, which is consolidated compilation of all India Defence Service receipts and charges. A consolidated compilation of all India Defence Services receipts and charges is generated online in the compilation system to show the current and progressive figures under each major, sub-major, minor, sub and detailed head of account. Now the consolidated compilation of RDR heads. The monthly consolidated compilation of RDR heads is generated online in the compilation system by the EDP Center of Headquarters Office to show the progressive figures in respect of each controller and each RDR head. Analysis of all India Defence Services receipts and charges. This is generated online in the compilation system to show the current and progressive figures separately for each controller and under each classification code head of classification of handbook. Now coming over to the compilations for March supplementary and supplementary corrections accounts. These compilations are closed on the dates intimated each year by the Controller General of Defense Accounts. They are printed and disposed of in the same manner as the monthly sectional compilations. So here we have seen all the relevant classifications of expenditures, various code heads, their codification scheme, adjusting TE and compilation. From now, Mr. Ashok Rajora will be taking over to discuss about the reconciliation of RBI accounts, checking of PM, and the clearance of suspense head. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ashok Kumar Rajora. We will now see the reconciliation of RBI account in details. In this slide, first we will know defense accounts at RBI. Every CDA or PCDA office has its account maintained at RBI for remittance in the books of RBI. If the checks pertain to RBI, then code head 00/021/00 will be operated, and if it pertains to SBI focal point branch, then code head 28/021/00 will be operated. For remittance to bank, code head 020/81 is used for debit scroll, that is checks. 00/020/80 is used for credit scroll, that is MROs. And 020/91 is used for SBI CMP transaction. These remittances are tallied with Reserve Bank deposit head By this way, reconciliation is done between RBI and focal point branch. Before understanding the procedure of reconciliation of RBI account, first we will get to know about the process through flowchart, how the credit or debit scrolls are received to account section. In this process, first unit submit their claims to audit section. Then audit section prepared punching medium and sent to D section for payment. After that, D section and send these to bank for processing of payment. After that, bank disburse as per instruction received from D section, disburse the payment to vendor. Now comes to bank. Bank prepared debit scroll and forwarded to FPB branch. FPB branch of SBI sent these to account section. Account section receives debit scroll from FPB and scrutinize all the details and reconcile with schedule 3 which received from D section. Thus, reconciliation is done here. In earlier slide, we have known how credit or debit scrolls come to account section. Now, here we will get to know about monthly settlement statement, that is MSS, which comes in account section from RBI, and date-wise monthly report, that is DMS, received from focal point branch of SBI. First, we will discuss about MSS. Monthly settlement statement, it is received from RBI CS Nagpur, and it contains all the amount of receipt or payment put through by focal point branch, that is FPB, and settled with RBI CS Nagpur. It contains all debit and credit details or receipt or payment included debit or credit advice. The closing balance intimated by the RBI CS Nagpur in MSS report can be broadly divided in 3 parts. First is intergovernmental adjustment. The intergovernment transaction in the pro forma account are debit or credit advice raised by the Department of Railway, Post, etc. Transaction with various RBI branches, transaction through RBI branches like Jaipur, Kanpur and other RBI that works as treasury. Transaction with SBI, transaction with all focal point branch as well as SBI CMP Hyderabad is included. Let's understand date-wise monthly statement. Focal point branch send DMS report to account section, which contains detailed information about all the transaction, that is debit, credit, CMP transaction for a particular month. As we have got enough information about MSS and DMS, on the basis of these, we will get to know reconciliation procedure of balance in the books of RBI through this flow chart. Here, RBI CS Nagpur sends MSS report to account section, which contains all the transaction figure of receipt and payment for a particular month. Similarly, focal point branch sends date-wise monthly statement account section. Now, account section scrutinizes and verify all the figures reported in MSS with DMS entry which have been recorded in FPB wise register. Account section booked figure reported in MSS under RB deposit head, that is 021/00, and figure reported in DMS are booked under FPB head, that is 02081. Transaction figures reported in MSS should be tallied with figure reported in DMS. In case any difference noticed, the difference or unreconciled amount is transferred to RB suspense unclassified head, that is 020/83, or PSB suspense head, that is 020/76. After the process of reconciliation and scrutiny of figures in MSS, a copy of the MSS duly verified in is returned to RBI CS Nagpur as well as headquarter office, and discrepancies noticed are taken into rectification with concerned bank or focal point branch. At the closing of financial year, it is made sure that no difference is left between RB deposit head or consolidated figure reported in MSS of March final. In this part, we will try to understand checking of punching medium with section compilation. Now a question arises, why should we do this exercise? During the processing of bill, audit section prepares punching medium which contains detail like month of PM, CDA code, section code, class of voucher, voucher number, check and bill code head and such head. To verify these details, PM is checked with section compilation. Let's understand punching medium. Punching medium is the medium of transmission of extract information in coded form required for compilation and accounting. It is the most elementary document prepared in DAD office that goes into the preparation of accounts for in defense service. It contains information relating to month, CDA code, booking for the transition, classification code head, class of voucher, serial number of voucher, whether a receipt or charge, and the amount. Here is the specimen of punching medium. Indian Army form, that is IAF CDA 336 is used for punching medium. Describe details of compiling month, CDA code, section code, class of voucher, and voucher number are here on screen. Now as tabulated here, the upper part contains detail like month April 2020, CDA code 31, section code 600, class of voucher number 1 and voucher number 3001. Now comes to lower parts. First column represent code head of check and bills. Here for example, code head 93/020/91 is used. Second column is for receipt, whether the amount is to be booked in plus receipt side or minus receipt side, as the case may be. Here rupees 5 lakh has been booked in plus receipt side. Third column depicts detail of service head. In this case, code head 89/565/01 is used, and the last column represents whether it is plus charge or minus charge, as the case may be. Here rupees 5 lakh has been booked in plus charge side. As service head is operated on charge side, whether it is plus charge or minus charge. Now we will verify all these details with section compilation in next slide. Here first we will understand about section compilation. So section compilation is the primary document of financial information system for monitoring the progress of booking and clearance of suspense. Here is illustration of section compilation. First column is RC, which indicates whether the booking is on receipt side or charge side. Second column shows punching medium, PM compiling month, and similarly third column shows month of booking. Next column represents section code of the concerned section who compiled the punching medium. Code head column shows the particular code head in which amount has been booked. Next column indicates voucher number. And the next one is class of voucher. Next column has the detail of amount. And the last one is for unit ID, which indicates to whom the payment has been made. As we have got enough information about punching medium, section compilation, now we can check punching medium with section compilation. In the previous slide, we have discussed punching medium details. Section compilation of the month April 2020 is on the screen. Here PM compiled details highlighted in red color. Punching mediums compile detail like booking in receipt side or charge side. Month April 2020, section code 600, booking code plus receipt 93/20/91 and plus charge side 89/565/01, voucher number 3001, class of voucher 1, and the amount rupees 5 lakh can be verified. All these details are matching with PM. It means our compilation is correct. Now let's understand about the review of section compilation with the help of this flowchart. Audit section of main office receives the bill and process through Tulip system and generates punching medium and review its section compilation. While reviewing section compilation, audit section to ensure that the classification given in punching medium is absolutely correct. PM have been correctly punched and all DV vouchers have been compiled. No DV should have been left out. Amounts have been correctly compiled and no transaction of erroneous unusual nature have been compiled. After review of section compilation, the concerned audit section forward a certificate to account section stating that if any erroneous booking has been noticed and the necessary action taken on it. Now, the office automation cell extract these files from the system and upload it in new compilation system, that is NCS, and the sub office where automation is not available prepare the PM manually and send it to office automation cell for uploading it in NCS. Headquarter office generates month-wise section compilation for each CDA/PCDA office, which is available on new compilation system. Then account section downloads section compilation from the same. In addition to review by audit section, account section also review section compilation to ensure that no amounts appear under a fictitious code head which has been deleted from the financial account during the course of year. No minus figures appears under a head other than a deducted head or a plus figure under a deducted head. The specific code head of accounts operated exclusively by certain specific CDA or PCDA do not appear in compilation of other CDA or PCDA. No amount outstanding under certain code head, that is 016/04 for employee contribution and 016/05 for government contribution, etc. The section compilation certificate which are received from audit sections are forwarded to headquarter office. Now we will describe the section compilation certificate in which it is certified that the booking made in the compilation for the month of, let's say, June has been reviewed and found correct. Readjustment whenever required has been carried out in the accounts of the subsequent month, and all the amounts compiled to the fictitious code head and misclassification have been rectified. It is certified that no DAD contingency expenditure has been booked to service heads. It is certified that accounting check prescribed in para 71 of Defense Account Code have been carried out by the concerned SOs/AOs/AOs/senior AOs/GO of account section. Coming over to one of the most important topic, which is clearance of suspense head. Now again a question comes in our mind, what is suspense head? Suspense heads are head to which receipt and payments are temporarily booked in the transaction at once cannot be taken to final head of account, and information or orders for booking of receipt or payment are awaited, and then next head of accounts to which the transaction likely to be adjusted are not known. If suspense heads remain uncleared, the balance would go accumulating and reflect a distorted picture in government accounts as well as department's image. So it is necessary to clear suspense head. Now one more time a question arises, when and how will suspense head be cleared? Suspense accounts are cleared when correct information is available and correct code head of accounts is also known. Let's understand how suspense head are cleared. In this process, we will learn about suspense code head and operation of suspense code head, maintenance of record, understand suspense clearance through example. Let's know which code head are to be operated for suspense accounts. The CGA, Ministry of Finance, Department of Expenditure has allotted major head, that is 859, to account for all proper suspense. As per pamphlet of RDR, this head has been divided in 8 minor heads. Minor heads 101 is operated for PO suspense, where transition with PO of various civil ministries are carried out. For this code head 020/01 to 020/50 are operated. Minor head 102 is operated for AG suspense, where transaction with account Journal of States and Union Territory are carried out. For this code head 019/01 to 019/29 are operated. Minor head 108 is operated for PSB suspense, where transaction with public sector banks are carried out. For this, code head 020/76 is operated. Minor head 109 is operated for RB suspense, whether transaction with Reserve Bank of India are carried out. For this, code head 020/82 to 020/84 and 031/012/034/01 are operated. Minor head 13 is operated for PF suspense, where transaction relating to various fund accounts are carried out. For this, code head 020/55 is operated. Minor head 125 is operated for adjustment with Pakistan, where transaction with Pakistan, advance deposit by Pakistan towards its share of joint expenditure Reserve Bank of India are carried out. For this, currently no code head is operated in this command. Minor head 138 is operated for other nominated banks, where transaction with private sector banks, that is ICICI Bank, IDBI Bank, SDFC and UTI Bank are carried out. For this, currently no code head is operated in this command. Minor head 140 is operated for miscellaneous suspense, where transaction with miscellaneous transaction not covered under minor head 1012/138 above are carried out. For this, code head 020/61 is operated. Now we will understand how to operate suspense head. Suspense head can be operated on receipt, plus receipt or minus receipt, or charges, plus charge or minus charge, both side as the case may be, in punching medium. After operating suspense head, all entries are recorded in a register. Let's discuss maintenance of record. Suspense accounts are maintained in prescribed format. For original debit IAFA 195 and for original credit IAFA 525. Clearance is also watched through these registers. Now we will understand clearance through example. If a balance is lying outstanding under code head 016/04 for employee contribution and 016/05 for government contribution, due to non-remittance to trustee bank under new pension scheme as PRAN number is not correct. In this case, NPS amount of contribution cannot be credited to concerned trustee bank account. As we know, contribution code head, that is 016/04 for employee contribution and 016/05 for government contribution, should be at the end of financial year. Therefore, we have to transfer this amount in suspense head. For transfer this amount, concerned audit section will prepare a punching medium by minus receipt to contribution head, that is 016/04 and 016/05. And plus receipt to suspense head, that is 020/61. It means we have debited ₹100 from contribution head and credited to suspense head. Hence, contribution heads are now cleared, but suspense head is showing outstanding balance, which is recorded in suspense register. Later on, receipt of correct PRAN number in next financial year, concerned audit section will prepare a punching medium by minus receipt to suspense head, that is 77/020/61. Here prefix 77 indicates previous year transition. Plus receipt to concerned check and bill head, where the amount actually should have been credited. It means we have debited ₹100 from suspense head and credited to NPS trustee bank. Consequently, suspense head is cleared now and it is also linked with suspense register. Now the question arises how to watch clearance of suspense head. While watching clearance of suspense head, account section ensure that by means of broadsheet in IAFA 195 for original debit cleared through minus debit. Secondly, in IAFA 525 for original credit cleared through minus credit. We are now aware of the reconciliation of RBI accounts, the checking of PM, and the most important clearance of suspense head. This brings us to the end of part 1 of this module. Thank you.
Welcome you all once again. I hope you all have gone through the part 1 of this module. Now, before proceeding further, it is necessary that you are aware of everything that is discussed in the part 1 of this module, wherein all the basics of working of accounts section are covered in detail. There we learned about all the nitty-gritties related to the accounting system, classification of expenditure, codification scheme, most importantly, how to identify and operate correct code heads, when to initiate a TE, reconciliation of RBI account, checking of punching medium, and in the last, with a greater focus on clearance of the suspense heads. Now, in this part, we will be focusing more upon the technical and practical aspects of the account section. Here, various transaction instruments will be discussed which are important to understand various aspects of annual review of balances. First, Ms. Ayushi Jain will be discussing all about defense and civil interdepartment schedules and their adjustments. Then, Mr. Ashish Khandelwal will talk about the check and MROs, how they are linked with Schedule 3 and DMROs respectively. In the last session, Mr. Ashok Rajora will be discussing about the annual review of balances thoroughly, what it is, how it looks like, and what are the main constituents and why it is so important. Now, let's get started.
Now, let us try to understand one of the transaction instrument of our department, Defense Inter-Department Schedules, which we will be referring to as DID schedules in the upcoming slides. In DID schedules, transactions are exchanged between Defense Accounts Department, that is one controller to the other controller, through defense exchange accounts. Now, which transactions are exchanged between the Defense Accounts Department? Let's have a look. Transaction pertaining to debt, small savings provident fund, loans and advances deposits, and advances, suspense and remittance heads are adjusted with the help of defense exchange accounts. Secondly, the transaction for which a particular controller is centrally responsible are also adjusted through generating DID schedules. Apart from this, impressed advance payment to Naval Air Force, personnel from Army sources and which are adjustable in the accounting circle of another controller are also adjusted through Defense Exchange Account Code. As we have been talking about Defense Exchange Account Code, let's understand a little bit about them. To identify which CDA or PCDA has originated or responded the DID, every CDA or PCDA office has been allotted a unique DEA code heads in RDR pamphlet. As we can see from this table, the CDA Patna has been allotted the DEA code 00070/21 for originating and 22 for responding. Similarly, PCDA SWC Jaipur has been allotted 0007031 for originating and 32 for responding. Apart from DEA code, there is also a major role of DID number. Every DID has a unique 15-digit number in which first 2 digits indicate CDA code. The next 4 digits shows the section code of the concerned section who originated or responded the DID. 7th digit is the class of voucher. 8th to 11th digits shows the voucher number. 12th and 13th digit indicate the month and the last 2 digits indicate the year of the DID. Now there are few forms and classes of vouchers too, which are used in DID schedules. Now we will know which forms and class of vouchers are used in DID schedules. So DID schedules are originated by class 2 vouchers by operating of PM in IAF 336 and responded by class 8 vouchers which are prepared on IAF 338A. Here we have to keep in mind that 5 copies of DID schedules will be prepared by the audit section. 3 copies for responding CDA, 1 copy is for account section for originating CDA and remaining 1 copy is of office. Now, we will discuss some key points which should be followed every time while making DID transactions. First one is, if DID is originated with plus receipt, then it should be responded with plus charge. Similarly, originated with minus receipt should be responded with minus charge, and vice versa. Also note that the original item is always responded through class 8 voucher, except in MES transactions where class 4 voucher is used. Now let us understand the process how a DID schedule is originated and responded with the help of an example. Suppose Mr. A has been transferred from PCDA SWC Jaipur to CDA Patna, and the house building advance amounting to rupees 10,000 is outstanding against him in the books of PCDA SWC Jaipur. Now PCDA SWC Jaipur will transfer this HBA to the CDA Patna through originating a DID schedule. So concerned audit section will originate DID schedule by operating of PM in IEF 336 and prepare 5 copies as discussed earlier. So the DID number will look like 31 0001 2 0001 05 and 20, where the 31 represent the CDA code, 0001 represents the section code, here 2 represents the class of voucher, 0001 again represents the voucher number, 05 represents the month, which here is the month of May, and 20 represent the year of the DID, which is 2020. So here in the code head of HBA, which is 00011217, rupees 10,000 has been booked in plus receipt and booked minus receipt against CDA Patna in the originating code head, which is 00070/21 as discussed earlier. Now CDA Patna will respond it by giving a minus charge in responded code head of PCDA SWC Jaipur, that is 007032 as discussed in earlier slide. Now let us understand the whole process of adjusting DID schedules with the help of this flowchart. First, the audit section forwards a copy of originating DI schedules to the account section. Then account section record it in the outward DID schedule register and verify the correctness of DID schedule. After this, it is uploaded in the new compilation system, where concerned CDA will get the details of DID schedules. Now the account section of the responding CDA will download this copy from NCS and record it in invert DID schedule register. After that, it will be forwarded to the audit section. Later, account section will receive adjusted copy of DID from their concerned audit section and respond it in the NCS again. At last, the account section of originating CDA or PCDA note down the TE number from NCS portal and link it with the outward DID schedule register. Hope this flowchart helped you in understanding the movement and the adjustment of the DID schedule. Let us now move forward to our other transaction instrument. Now moving further with civil interdepartment schedule, which we will be referring to as CID schedule in the further slides. A CID schedule is an intergovernmental adjustment where transactions are carried out between defense service and other civil departments through CID schedules. But why Defense Accounts Department prepares CID schedules? The answer is Defense Service Department uses civil department services like railway sidings and platforms, electricity charges of MC building, postal services, etc. Therefore, to book adjustment, CID schedule prepared as a service department shall not make charges against another department of the central government. Here are two types of CID schedules which are prepared. One is the inward settlement account and the another one is the outward settlement account. Let us first discuss the inward settlement account. Transaction arising in the books of civil department but adjusted in the books of controller are covered in the inward settlement account. It will be more easy to understand by this flowchart. Now the book adjustment, credit or debit as the case may be are prepared by civil departments. In book adjustment, the railways forward an advice to RBI CS Nagpur with an instruction to debit PCD's account and credit their account. Further, a copy of the advice along with the voucher accepted by the executives is also forwarded to the account section of concerned CDA PCDA for its adjustment. Now, account section scrutinizes advices and vouchers. Then these details are entered in the invert settlement accounts register. Later, it is forwarded to the concerned audit section. Here we have looked over all the aspects related to the inward settlement account. Proceeding further to the outward settlement account. Now, the transaction arising in the book of controller but adjusted in the book of civil departments are recovered in the outward settlement account. Let us understand this process by flow of chart again. Now, the vouchers in support of the transactions, which is required to be passed on to civil departments, received and adjusted by the audit section. Now, the audit section forward vouchers along with PM to account sections of concerned CDA or PCDA office. Then account section prepare a CID schedule and enter it in the outward settlement accounts register. Now the account section forwards an advice to RBI CS Nagpur with an instruction to debit PCD's account and credit civil government department's account as the case may be. Further, a copy of advice along with the voucher accepted by the executives is also forwarded to civil departments on adjustment. On receipt of advice or clearance memo from RBI CS Nagpur, the amount will be adjusted via operating plus receipt to the code head RBI deposit defense head, that is 00021000, and operating plus charge on the RBI suspense head. From this flowchart, we can see that it is the complete opposite of the invert settlement account. I hope this flowchart simplified it a little bit for you. To make it more clear, let us understand adjustment of CID schedule through an example. A debit advice or a clearance memo of rupees 1000 received from RBI CS Nagpur, and later the copy of advice along with the verified original vouchers received from Railway Department. After receiving original verified vouchers and advice, account section scrutinizes advice and vouchers. Then details entered in invert settlement account register. After this, a CID schedule is prepared by plus charge to RBI suspense classified head, which is 00020082, and plus receipt to RBI deposit head 02100 here. It means account section debited to RBI suspense classified head and credited to RBI deposit head. As a result, our RBI suspense classified head is indicating outstanding amount. Then these CID schedules along with supporting vouchers are forwarded to concerned audit section with instruction to clear the RBI suspense classified head. After receiving CID schedule along with supporting vouchers, audit sections send these vouchers to executive authority for accepting vouchers and to provide fund in concerned service head for adjusting the same. Then audit section prepares a PM by plus charge to concerned service head and minus charge to RBI suspense classified head, which we have seen it here. It means audit section debited to service head and credited to RBI suspense classified head. Thus, RBI suspend head is cleared as earlier account section plus charge 00020082 head, and now audit section minus charge this head, and further it is linked with CID schedule register. So here we are done understanding all about the DID and CID schedules. In the next slides, you will be knowing about other instruments of transaction, which are checks and MROs by Mr. Ashish Khandelwal.
As we all know about the role and importance of checks, here we will be discussing linked and unlinked checks. Before proceeding for this, first we should know about some general terminologies. First is punching medium of checks or SBI CMP payment. This table depicts the PM prepared for checks. Audit section prepares the PM by debiting the service head and crediting the head check and bills. For this, concerned service head is booked on plus charge side and check head or SBI CMP payment head is booked on plus receipt side. Next is Schedule 3. Schedule 3 is nothing but a list which contains all checks and CMP payment details. Next is DP sheet, means daily payment sheet which contains payment details and is generated by the concerned section. Now coming over to SBI CMP payment. In order to bring about uniformity in e-payment in DAD, cash management product of SBI has been implemented. We will discuss this process in a few minutes. Now with the help of this flowchart, we will understand the whole process of linking and unlinking of checks. First, audit section receives the claim from the vendor or units. Now, audit section will scrutinize the bills and prepare PM for it. After that, these bills along with DP sheet are being sent to the disbursement section. D section does the payment either by issue of check or through online mode, that is SBI CMP portal. Okay, so let's discuss about CMP process here only. Till this process we have already discussed. So now D section forward schedule 3 to account section for linking with debit scroll. Now account section downloads debit scrolls from SBI CMP portal and prepares PM to clear SBI CMP payment head, that is 93/020/91. At last, account section reconcile the amount compiled by the audit section with the debit scrolls and schedule 3. Moving back to the process of linking and unlinking checks. D section or any sub office issues the check and sends it to bank. Here you can see. Meanwhile, a schedule 3 of these payment details is being forwarded to account section. And in case of sub offices where checks are being issued by them only, schedule 3 is directly forwarded to account section. Now, after issuing check, it will be processed at bank here, and it will be forwarded with debit scroll to FPB, means focal point branch. Then focal point branch forward these debit scrolls and paid checks to account section of concerned CDA or PCDA office. Now account section will scrutinize these documents, make entry in registers and prepare PM for compiling amounts of debit scrolls. At last, account section links these paid checks debit scrolls received from FPB with schedule 3, which received from D section or audit sections. While linking the checks, some points to be considered, as in respect of paired checks, the enfacement linked and paired will be made on both the schedule 3 and paid checks. While pairing, the check numbers, name of payee, date and amount will be compared and verified. The other aspects like unattested correction or changes in name of payee, etc. should also be invariably compared while pairing to detect frauds. Now the checks left unpaired or unlinked will be extracted into a separate register. Now we will understand about what happens with unlinked checks. The outstanding credit balance under the head 00/020/81 check and bills indicates the amount of unlinked checks. The checks remaining unlinked in schedule 3 for more than 90 days will be extracted and referred to focal point branch with a copy to the concerned dealing branch, requesting them to furnish certificate of payment. If it is confirmed by the focal point branch that the check have not been paid, the matter will be referred to concerned audit section. All the outstanding items should be vigorously pursued to finality. To make it easy to understand, let's see the adjustment of check with the help of an example. At the time of issuing a check by audit section, a PM is prepared by plus charge to service head and plus receipt to check and bills head, that is 0002081. It means, for example, the amount of rupees 10,000 is debited from service head and credited to check and bill head in which payment is to be made. After doing this, audit section forwards the schedule 3 to account section. Now, as discussed earlier, account section received paid checks along with debit scroll from FPB and link these paid checks with schedule 3. Then prepare a PM to reconcile the amount by operate minus receipt to check head, that is 00/020/81, and book plus receipt to RBI deposit head, that is 00/021/00. Therefore, the checks and bills head will be cleared as audit section booked plus receipt to check head, and now account section booked minus receipt in this head. Now let us discuss some drawbacks of the present system. As you must be knowing that no amount should remain outstanding in the suspense head 00/020/81, but sometimes due to the non-receipt of paid checks along with debit scroll received from banks, clearance of suspense head 00/020/81 as minus receipt is not possible. As a result, outstanding under code head 00/020/81 as plus receipt will be reflected in the AROB. Now, next one is possibility of wrong dispatch of debit scrolls along with paid checks to other controllers also lead to outstanding under this code head. Now moving ahead to our next transaction instrument, military receivable orders, that is MROs. First, we will try to understand what the MROs and its electronic form, that is EMROs, are. All government dues related to defense services are deposited in bank through the medium of MROs, and the electronic form MRO is known as EMRO, which is an online process of deposit MRO through SBI CMP portal. Generally, two types of MROs received in account section. One is original MRO, other one is DMRO, which is called duplicate MROs. This DMRO is received from FPBs. Here one point is to be noted that depositor has to submit 3 copies of MRO in the bank. One for depositor itself, second one is for concerned department, and the last copy is bank's copy. Now let's understand the whole process of MRO with the help of this flowchart. Depositor deposits government dues related to defense services either into bank through MRO or on SBI CMP portal through EMRO. After it, depositor sends original copy of MRO to concerned audit section. On the basis of original MROs, audit section prepares PM and forward the OMROs along with PM to account section. Now, after receiving OMROs from audit section, account section enter these details in MRO register. DMROs along with credit scrolls are received in account section from focal point branch. Account section scrutinize these DMRO and credit scroll and make entry in register by linking with OMROs. At the end of the month, account section prepares a PM for adjusting DMRO balance with the OMRO balance. Similarly, in case of EMRO, depositor deposits government dues on SBI CMP portal. Here. Now, account section download these credit scrolls from SBI CMP portal and upload it on Tulip software. After preparing PM of credit scrolls, TE number will be updated on Tulip software. Hence, EMRO gets visible to concerned audit section. Here. On the basis of EMRO, audit section prepares a PM and link TE number on Tulip software. With the hope that you understood the process of MRO, moving towards the process of adjusting MROs and DMROs through an example. An original MRO amounting to rupees 5,000 received in audit section from depositor. Audit section scrutinizes the MRO and prepares a PM by operating plus charge in the code head 00/020/80, and service head will be operated on plus receipt side or minus charge as the case may be. After this process, original MRO marking with T number means voucher number with booking month and year will be forwarded to account section. Account section note the details of OMRO in MRO register and for further linking with DMRO. Now, based on DMROs received from FPB or downloaded installed from SBI CMP portal, account section prepares a PM by plus charge to RBI deposit head, that is 00021/00, and minus charge to MRO's head, that is 00/020/80. It means account section credited the RBI deposit head and debited the MRO's head. Consequently, MRO has cleared as audit section operated plus charge on this head and account section operated minus charge on this head. Let's have a brief about linking and unlinking of MROs. Duplicate copies of the MROs are received from FPB and original MROs received from audit section are recorded bank-wise in the MRO register for linking. If details of MROs and DMROs are found matched in MRO register, it is treated as linked. However, if amount of MROs and DMROs does not match at the end of the year, it will be treated as unlinked. And in this case, at the end of each quarter, copy of DMROs are extracted to audit section for adjustment. This system also has some shortcomings. Sometimes large outstanding amount exists in the code head 00/020/80 under either plus charge or minus charge. If the audit section are not getting OMROs from the depositor or not adjusting during the financial year properly, code head 00/020/80 may remain outstanding on minus charge side, which will lead to negative balance in the AROB for that particular year. Similarly, if audit sections are compiling the amount properly on receipt of OMROs, but accounts fail to compile as minus charge due to non-receipt of DMROs from bank, will lead to outstanding balance on plus charge side under the code head 00/020/80. Consequently, the government account could not be credited, which may suspect as a fraud. Therefore, outstanding amount under plus charge or minus charge must be liquidated during the same financial year. Otherwise, unusual balance may be reflected in the AROB under the code head 00/020/80. Next is the most important common mistake. While adjusting MROs from previous years, if prefix 77, this prefix 77 is not being used by the concerned audit section, then it will be reflected in current year's expenditure, hence leading to a mismatch in the balances. So this was all about MROs and checks. Now we will discuss annual review of balances in the upcoming slides that is presented by Mr. Ashok Rajora. Thank you.
Now that we have performed our duties well enough, it is required to prepare the whole annual statement of the work done by us. This is done via annual review of balances, that is AROB. Let's have a look about what AROB is. AROB is basically a balance sheet of each CDA office, which contains all the information about receipt and payments in their respective code heads. Closing balance of the heads to the government are correctly transcribed in receipt and charges in the statement. AROB report is made for every financial year on the basis of RDR. Now let us see what all information it contains. A statement of cash ledger balance which is to be verified, an explanation of the nature and condition of the liability involved in it, a statement of detailed accounts showing how far the same agrees with the balance on the ledger, and the last one is information as to whether the person or persons by whom the balance is on or from whom it is due and its correctness. This does not apply to such items as deposit. Let us look in details of purpose of AROB. The basic purpose behind the preparation of the AROB is to take stock of balances under various suspense, remittance, and debt head after their due reconciliation with the balances appearing in the concerned ledger. It reflects the amount compiled under the Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, and Public Accounts Fund, and highlights the area where government is a debtor or creditor. Now, how it is prepared. Let us see it step by step. CDA or PCDA is responsible for maintaining the details of the amount due to or by government working up to the balance on his own books. He is further responsible for reviewing these balances at the end of each year in the manner prescribed in Chapter 11 of Defense Account Code. For submitting a copy, his review of balance along with statement number 5 and 13 to the CGDA. Copy of the review of balances are also furnished to Principal Director or Director of Audit Defense Services for external audit. CGDA will prepare statement number 5 and 13 of Union Government Finance Account and send to the same to the CGA. Now, as we have talked about statement number 5 and 13, it is now time to see what these statements say. Statement number 5. It is the summary of balance with respect to the general outline of system of accounts, that is Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, and Public Accounts of India. Statement number 13. It is the statement of receipt, disbursement, and balances under major and minor head of accounts relating to debt, deposit, remittance, and contingencies. As we got to know about statement number 5 and 13 from last slide, in this slide we see an image of statement showing the detail of each and every subcode head with respect to their charge or receipt side, operational in the CDA. See in the left side of the image, revised opening balance which is carried forward from last financial year is prescribed and then compiled or clearance. Here it is compiled and clearance occurred in present financial year for which AROB is made are to be put in their respective receipt or charge side. As per this data, we get the closing balance from the particular financial year as shown in the right side of the image. This statement is required for preparing statement number 5 and 13. Here in this slide, we can see an image of statement number 13 in which major and minor head. Here it is major head and it's minor head. Minor head wise detail is present in thousands in the form of credit record or debit record. Here it is credit record and debit record. As we mentioned the word credit record and debit record, let's understand what they means. Credit record, if receipt side for a particular code head is more than charge side, then this code head is prescribed as credit record. For example, if receipt side amount is 1000 and charge side amount is 800, then our credit record will be 200. Debit record, if charge side for a particular code head is more than receipt side, then this code head is as prescribed debit record. For example, if charge side amount is 2000 and receipt side amount is 800, then it is prescribed as 1200 debit record. As evident from this image, the left side shows opening balance. Here it is, which is carried forward from last financial year in the form of credit record or debit record. And then receipt and disbursement is prescribed. Receipt and disbursement. In the closing balance shown in the right side of the image. Here it is. Net effective amount in thousands in the form of credit record or debit record is calculated. In this manner, statement number 13 is made. In this slide, we can see an image of statement number 5, in which consolidated amount for consolidated contingency and public account of India is prescribed which should tally with each other on debit on credit side as shown in the bottom part of the image. Debit balance, credit, both are same. On the basis of statement number 5 and 13, government account is made in which opening balance is carried forward from last year. Different type of revenue, expenditure, exchange amount is prescribed along with closing balance from statement number 13. Here the point to remember is that amount in debit and credit side must tally for closing balance in government accounts as shown in image for reference. Debit, this amount. Credit, this amount. Both are same. Along with these statements, several other certificates, annexure and notes are also attached with AROB. Let's have a look on various annexures. Annexure C1. It contains checklist cum index showing details of each and every element of AROB with page numbering. Annexure C2. It contains preface with signature of every officer and auditor involved in preparation of AROB. Annexure C3. It contains signed certificate by PCDA stating that accounts rendered are correct. Annexure C4. It is certificate regarding maintenance of subsidiary account. Annexure C5. It contains explanatory notes for expenditure heads, revenue heads, receipt heads, and RB deposit heads. Annexure C6. It contains government account. Annexure C7. It is statement number 5. Annexure C8. It is statement number 13. Annexure C9. It is the statement showing details of each and every subcode head on which statement number 5 and 13 is made. Annexure C10. It has the details of amount for originating and responding DIDs. Annexure C11. It contains action taken notes for outstanding and suspense balances. Annexure C12. It is the year-wise breakup of balances for code head 020/30, 020/48, 020/80, 020/81, and the last one is 020/82. Annexure C13 to C18. It contains measure head 8659 balance, PAO suspense, AG suspense, measure head 8670 check and bills. Status and statement showing the progress of all suspense heads are kept for office record purpose and not to be sent along with AROB.
Now that we have learned most of the constituents of AROB, let's answer some of the important questions in this regard. The first question is, what is punching medium? Punching medium is the medium of transmission of extracted information in coded form required for compilation and accounting. The next one is, what is the annual review of balances? Annual review of balances is to examine the balance remained outstanding in the government books at the end of financial year and render explanations or reasons thereof is known as annual review of balances. The next question is, why AROB is necessary? AROB gives comprehensive and concluding picture of the followings. The first point in this regard is all the write-offs which government has considered and approved in the current financial year. This is the money which shall never be recovered. The second point relates to delays in repayments. This is the government money which could not come back to the government in time. The third point in this regard is acknowledgements of balances, which is self-explanatory. The fourth point is irregular recovery of interest. The fifth one is grant of loans without necessary safeguard for recovery, wherein risk is highlighted. The sixth point is remission of interest, which is the earning of the government. The seventh and the last one is unusually large loans to an individual or corporate body, etc., which is also to be watched as it bears an inherent risk towards its recovery. The next question here is, which heads of accounts are reflected in review of balances? The answer is only RDR heads are reflected in review of balances. The fifth question is, what is the process of closing of government accounts? My friends, as soon as the orders of the CGA are received through CGDA for the final closing of the books of the previous year, the closing balances of the accounts close to balance account in the previous year will be brought forward in the statement of the current year. After closing of the compilation of March final, the final accounts of the receipt and charges will be posted in the statements and balances of struck off for the preparation of review of balances. The closing balances in the statements will be verified with the balances worked out independently in the department and suspense heads register. Now let's take the next question. What constitutes the controller's certificate submitted with the review of balances? The answer to this question is the controller's certificate will be as under. The language is certified that all the expenditure incurred during the year relevant to the grant or appropriation number 18 has been included in the appropriation account and no account is left unadjusted. The seventh question in this regard is, review of balances are submitted to whom and when? My friends, as soon as it is prepared and an audit certificate is obtained thereon from the Director of Audit Defense Services, it is submitted to the CGDA by the end of August every year. The last question in this regard is, after its issue, what action is required to be taken? My friends, as soon as the review of balances is issued, a list of all cases in which action is required to be taken is prepared and forwarded to the concerned section or sub-office, and reply thereon is watched. It brings us to the end of this module. Here we have covered most of the relevant topics related to the working of account section. We hope that this module will be beneficial for you all. With this hope, thank you for your interest and attention. Good luck and take care. Thanks.
उदेति सविता ताम्रस्ताम्र एवास्तमेति च संपत्तौ च विपत्तौ च महताम एक रूपता। अर्थात सूर्य उदय होते समय व अस्त होते समय ताम्र वर्ण का होता है, उसी प्रकार सज्जन पुरुष सुख व दुख के समय समान रहते हैं।